painting should make you happy, should bring you freedom.
A couple more of those in your repetition and you'd be
kidding.
knocking out happy little trees too.
Hi there, welcome back everybody, and we're going to sit in and do a happy little painting here with you. So get your paints out perhaps, or just sit back in your easy chair with a big old glass of iced tea, like Bob Ross used to tell you to, and enjoy our visit with Chris Taylor, who is a certified Bob Ross instructor. Now, why is Chris Taylor here? Chris is here because Ball State is having Bob Ross Happy Little Fest coming up this weekend, which just happens to be Mr. Ross's, or would have been his 80th birthday.
That is correct.
Which I did not know that until recently.
Yeah, October 29th is the 80th birthday of Bob Ross. It's also celebrating WIPB, which is the public TV station that broadcast and produced The Joy of Painting.
Yep.
It'll be their 50th year on air. So
Okay.
we've combined that into a really large happy little fest at Ball State.
Now, Chris Taylor, he is a certified Bob Ross instructor who was trained by Bob Ross himself. How did that happen?
Yeah, I'm extremely humbled and grateful for that. When I was in middle school, always had been artistic, liked to draw, liked to create things. But my grandmother and I enrolled in a painting class. It wasn't in Bob's technique, it was traditional oil painting class at a little shop in Yorktown, Indiana. And one of the paintings we did was a landscape. And the owner of that shop, after we did that painting class, said, "You should come back on Saturday and meet Bob." And so I went back on Saturday, carried my little canvas that I had painted, and I met Bob for the first time. And he was always an encourager. He's exactly like he was on television in person. And he saw something in me that I'm extremely grateful for. We developed this wonderful relationship through the last 6 to 7, 8 years or more of his life, where we painted together, and he taught me some stuff, and really much more about life than painting. But it was awesome. And now, 30 some years later, for me to be a certified Ross instructor and kind of carry his legacy forward, I feel very, very passionate about.
And that's why we've got the canvas here. We've got your typical canvas, all wet and slick with the liquid white, just like Bob Ross would have done. And Chris is going to demonstrate for us a little bit while we talk about Ball State's Happy Little Fest. So what are you going to do today? And the thing about the Bob Ross technique is you can do anything you want with this. You just make it up as you go along.
That's right. Well, first I'll just tap this little 2-inch brush into some phthalo blue. And let's bounce this in a happy little sky today first.
All right.
So just using little X strokes.
And again, because the liquid white that's on there, the phthalo blue, which is, it's not a super dark blue, kind of a dark blue, but it mixes with that white and makes the sky.
Yeah, so you go darker in the corners, work your way across the top, and then it mixes with that liquid white and becomes lighter and lighter as you go down to the horizon line. And I'm leaving a little white spots in there because I don't want to do a lot of clouds, but by leaving this in there, I'll get a little cloud mixture. And while I still have that phthalo blue on the brush, I'm just going to go down here. I'm going to pull in, and potentially we might have a little water down here.
Yes, because Bob was a fanatic about water, as he used to like to say. Now, this is bringing back, while Chris paints, this is bringing back memories for our senior director, Jennifer Shirley. Jennifer actually worked in Bob's studio as a camera operator.
That's amazing.
While she was a student at
I
Ball
hope I
State.
can meet her when we're done.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I got a clean, dry 2-inch brush. As you saw Bob on TV, just to make sure that's
Beat
dry.
the devil out of
Sorry
it,
about
yeah.
the studio here.
That's okay.
And I'm just going to go in
I'm
and
not part of the cleanup crew, so that's okay.
just going to lightly blend using the same X strokes. And you can blend this to any degree of softness that you want.
And it blends differently depending on whether you've used a brush that you've already used, the dirty brush, or the clean brush here.
That's correct. Yep. I used a clean, dry 2-inch brush. And then down here, I'm going to use the same strokes. Just kind of blend this water. Have a little sheen here in the middle where I didn't paint. So hopefully,
see. Okay.
when all this is done, it'll look like a little sheen casting across that water.
All right.
Yeah, simple like that. We already have a happy little sky and what will be some form of water.
And that took all of a couple of minutes here. Yeah, I mean, that's what was, I think, made Bob so endearing and this technique so endearing. And again, Bob's been gone for so long, and I don't know of anybody offhand whose legacy has endured the way Bob Ross's has so many years later, you know, and it's because you can create something like this in such a short amount of time, you know.
Yes, and you know, this is the true joy of painting for Bob was the idea of letting anyone experience it. He was often criticized for not being a real artist sometimes because of all these things that were going on and so fast.
Going back to his beginnings, yeah.
And I remember at Ball State, my only C in college was in my art class because I and my professor had a large debate about whether Bob Ross was an artist or not. So
one of those.
I know. So anyway, let's. How about we dance in a happy little cloud or two, because that's what Bob does, right? So
absolutely.
1-inch brush, pulling that through some titanium white, and I'm just gonna put the indication of a few little happy little clouds dancing up here in the sky. Now I left a little of the white in the blue, so we'll have little different options.
Now while Chris is making the clouds, of course, you might get a chance to do this yourself at Bob Ross Happy Little Fest. It's at Ball State, Saturday, October 29th, celebrating his life legacy, and Chris is going to be there. Other certified Bob Ross instructors will be there. There's a whole lot going on that day.
It's going to be an awesome day. It's 11 to 5 on the campus of Ball State University, and we will be having what we hope and we're quite confident will be the largest Bob Ross festival ever. And as part of that, as you mentioned, Ray, we will have a large painting class. And for right now, you can sign up for that class for just $30 at happylittlefest.com.
Okay.
And as part of the fest, all the supplies are included, your canvas, your brushes, your paints, and you'll have certifications, certified Ross instructors there to teach you. And we were talking about this before we went on air, Ray. One of those certified Bob Ross instructors who will be in Muncie is David Arquette.
Yes, the actor and well, in my world, pro wrestler David Arquette. That would be fascinating to take a painting class. I did not know he was a certified Ross instructor until I saw the info about Happy Little Fest. That's something.
We're excited to have David come in. He'll be here on campus. He's also going to do a couple of classes with students in our media department and also a session with students in our theater department. And then he'll be painting happy little trees and clouds with all of you and all of us at the fest. So just softly blended out these clouds, and then I'm just going over it with a real light horizontal stroke to kind of just set those into the sky.
Okay. Now, how many certified Bob Ross instructors are there out there right now? There's got to be a lot still.
Yeah, there's an active group that we're aware of around 700 spread across the world globally. There's certainly more, but I think that an active group of around 700 or so.
Man, that's something else. And this always fascinated me because Bob could do an entire painting with just the knife. I mean, not using any brushes, just the knife.
Yeah, this is the big palette knife. So we'll see if we can maybe hop in maybe in the spirit of Bob, we'll hop in a little mountain in here.
Oh yeah.
And for this, we're just really using the top corner of the brush, or I'm sorry, the palette knife. Looking for a nice edge.
The mountains also fascinated me because what you think would look nothing like a mountain when you get started, by the time he's finished, it looks like a mountain.
It's, well, hopefully this does too. Yeah, we're just using the palette knife. Knock it in. We're really only worried about this top edge. We'll just make a little mountain in here today.
Okay.
You can hear how hard I'm scraping that canvas. You can't hurt the canvas.
Yeah, he always said that. Yeah, people might be afraid to scrape like that, or to dig in with the brush, or to hit it with the brush if that's what you were looking for. But the canvas can take it.
So we got a little nice little mountain shape in there.
Okay.
This is always the fun part too, when you go in and you can start to shape this mountain with a brush. Bob always said you can move mountains, and this is absolutely true. So I'm just going to go in and start to shape this mountain a little bit. And you can play with the angles, right? So Just like everything, angles are important.
Well, sure, because mountains aren't perfectly shaped in any particular way.
So as I kind of brush this out, it gives me a little indication of where I'm going to go with what my mountain will look like. Just like that, we've dropped in a happy little mountain. I'm just going to just very lightly blend this at the bottom.
Now, I said Chris was also an instructor at Ball State, and yeah, it's kind of incongruent. You see him doing this fabulous painting, this artwork, but Chris actually kind of works in our business in sports media and with the sports production company over there.
Yeah, we started at Ball State the nation's first 4-year sports production track. So our students can come to Ball State and major in sports production over the course of their 4 years. And it's really fun. We're doing a lot of good work there at Ball State and in our College of Communication and Information and Media.
Absolutely. All right, mixing a little red with
just going to put a little, just a little hint of some bright red. You don't want too much; it's really powerful. But I want to give a nice little tint of some warmth on this mountain, so I'm going to pull that out straight, cut across a little roll of paint, just like Bob did, and we'll go in here and
little top to the mountain.
we'll start to add just a little bit of snow in here.
Okay. Coming up on winter time here, why not?
Well, we've had a few snow flurries lately. So
Yes, sounded like Muncie might have gotten a few more than we did the other day.
And all this is, you're using real light pressure, really. And so, as Bob would say, it was kind of like a whisper.
Yes.
You just kind of whisper and touching. The canvas will pull off what it wants and
That's
leave
all
you
need.
with what's left. And so you want that paint to break. So you have some nice dimension in here.
The thing about this is, you know, if you go to Happy Little Fest, you take this painting class, or if you take any class from a certified floss instructor, you're learning not to necessarily copy what Chris is doing here, but you're learning just the technique where you can take whatever might be in your mind at that time and just apply it to the canvas.
And that truly is the joy of painting.
Yeah.
Because the more you do this and the more you become comfortable with it, you start to see things in your world, as
Right.
Bob said, of ways to, I want to add a peak here, I want to add a tree here, all things that you learn
And you can do it.
as you start to paint. So I'm just going in with a little phthalo blue, some white, made a nice little shadow color. I'm going to dance in a little shadow behind that peak. Before I get too far along, we can't leave the peak in the back out.
Right.
And this is, again, where you have the power on this canvas to move mountains. So this little peak's going to sit right back here in my world. About like that.
And as Bob would say, if you go in and you don't like something, you have not made a mistake. You don't make mistakes. You have happy accidents.
Yeah, we do not make mistakes here.
You can go in and fix it.
And you know what? That's just such a life motto too.
It is.
I find myself being reminded of that often in things that life throws our way, and like, give this little peak a little shadow.
Okay.
Every peak has to have some shadows.
Yes.
Or it won't stand out and jump out at you.
What's your favorite thing that you've painted so far since you've been doing this? Is there any particular favorite?
Well, to be honest with you, my favorite painting I've ever painted is one that I did with Bob.
Okay.
In the early 90s, we painted together a few times, but there was an opportunity where we did paint together. And I asked Bob if he would put in a happy tree in the painting that I did. And I treasure it to this day. And he did add a happy little tree and another tree, and then we both signed it.
Oh, wow.
So that is my favorite painting.
That's special.
Although it was maybe 30 years ago
Sure.
that happened. But so I'm just going to go back to that little white mixture that I had.
Okay.
Now we can cut that little roll of paint off, and then we can start to shape this mountain coming out. Because all mountains, you know, are not just a straight edge.
Nope. Little crooks and crevices all over the place.
And just by doing that, if I go back in here and bring this little blue, I can push that peak way back in the background.
Gotcha.
And then I can go over here
and then as you can
really make this
you
one
can see
start
there,
to pop.
you have a peak in the foreground, a peak in the background. That's perfect. Yeah.
So, and that you really can do this. That's the beauty of all this. And,
That's right.
And when we were becoming certified, we were tasked with being able to paint a picture in 30 minutes, just like Bob.
Yeah.
So I think I was pretty good at that from the producer side in my life.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
I was hitting
You
those
know what the
times
timing
pretty
is
marked.
like, yes.
So.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, I wish we had half an hour to do an entire painting here, but Chris can finish this up, or he can work on this some more. Or you can go see him at Bob Ross Happy Little Fest at Ball State University, Saturday, October 29th, 11 to 5 on campus?
11 to 5 on the campus of Ball State University.
All right, and if you want to register for the painting class, that's $30 in advance. We'll have a link for you to do so at WRTV.com. Chris, really appreciate you coming over.
Thank you so much. Happy painting, my friend.
Happy painting, and God bless, my friend. What's up, Indy? I hope you liked that interview with certified Bob Ross instructor Chris Taylor. If you did, please give a like to the video and leave a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also, if you're a fan of that video, click on the box right over there and learn about another incredible artist, Amaya Mims, at an exhibit from the 18 Art Collective at Newfields that I really think you should check out.